So, hello everybody, it's Becky Booth here, posting a post, not live because we messed up the technical glitches on Facebook and couldn't work out how to join together, but I'm here today welcoming Jeanette Hargreaves, and we're going to be talking about the should words and temper. So I'll just tell you a little bit about myself in case you don't know me. I help busy people break free from sabotaging habits and anxiety easily, quickly and permanently without the need for endless therapy sessions, so they feel in control and are confident to get on with their lives again. So today we're talking about the word should and our tempers. And often when we feel anxious, we feel out of control and things that happen around us feel so overwhelming that we lose our temper. And we usually lash out at the people that are closest to us, the dearest people to us, and hurt them the most. We always hear about people being triggered by things and losing their stuff, shit, whatever they, excuse my language, but that's what they say, and so on. And I know I'm not perfect because I used to really lose the plot a lot when I was younger. A few years ago, about 4 years ago, I got divorced and separated from a very abusive relationship I'd been in for about 12 years. And I found myself on my own with 4 children, well, 3 children and being pregnant, and nothing, I didn't even have a bed to sleep on. So life was really, really tough. And so the feeling of should be doing this and should have that and should have success in my life by now, because I was over 40, was hugely impactful on the way I felt about myself. And I was homeschooling as well, and it was only when I actually had my 4th child I stopped homeschooling and put the eldest 2 into school. But you know what, then there were even more shoulds that came up about how I should be as a mother, and how my family should behave, because of course all the impact of the emotional things that had gone in their lives made life really hard for them as well. So, yes, I'm a much better person now because life has become a lot easier as we've moved on from there, and the emotional impact has lessened, and I've done a lot of work on myself, as some of you may already know. So I know Jeanette understands exactly where I'm coming from with this. So Jeanette Hargreaves here, who I met in Corvallis on a wonderful retreat over in America last year. I had a really fantastic conversation with her about the issues I was actually having at the time with my littlest. First thing in the morning, when I felt he should be ready for school and should be doing this and should be behaving, respecting me and all these things. And you really changed my perspective very, very quickly on a very, very short conversation. So tell me a little bit about how you got into doing this as a temper coach, and a little bit about your story, please, first.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for having me here today. It's a pleasure to see you. Well, my first career was actually as a news producer. And so I was part of this really anxious system whose job was to put anxiety out into the culture. And I was really anxious myself. I came from an anxious family, and my dad used to lose his temper, and I lost my temper too, even before I had kids. And when I had kids, it got worse. And I decided that working in the news wasn't right for me, and I wanted to do something to make the world a better place. So I ended up ultimately back in school, and I got my Master's of Divinity at a local seminary in Austin, Texas. And I developed this program specifically for people who lose their temper and moms who lose their temper. And I tell the story that I used to lose my temper. I've been there, and I got help, and I don't anymore, not like I used to. And now I help others. And really, for me, having my Master's of Divinity, I'm not a priest or a pastor, but this is my ministry, and this is the good news. This is the way I'm making the world a better place.
Fantastic. So, and you make a wonderful difference. I don't know if you remember our conversation, but your approach was unique to me at the time. And I've never been coached before anyway. I've never had coaching specifically. I've had counselling, which didn't really help. That's not the same at all. So can you tell me a bit about this word should and the impact it has on our lives, and a little bit about its significance?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I teach is something called low pressure conversation. And low pressure conversation is noticing your word choice. And whenever I'm speaking about high pressure words and low pressure words, should always comes up as a high pressure word. And when you have a lot of pressure or a lot of stress in your life, oftentimes it bubbles up as losing your temper. It's this natural sort of stress response that we're having in our body, and simply choosing different words to say and different words to think can help us to not have that stress in our lives. And should is a really interesting word. There's a lot that I've learned about it over time, and I've really noticed three main kinds of should in my life and in the life of others. And one of them is it's the should that you tell yourself. It's the ones that you tell yourself in your mind all the time. Maybe I should be exercising, or I should be going to church more often, or I should be a better daughter to my parents. These are some things that might be weighing on your mind. And then there's the kind of should that actually comes from other people. Sometimes even our friends with the best of intentions will say, you should read this book, or you should follow this life coach on Facebook. Sometimes people, they find something that they like and they end up sort of recommending it. And then maybe you take that on like, oh, I should do that. You sort of take their should on, and it adds pressure too. And then there's a third kind, which I think is kind of funny. It's this kind that we think others are thinking. So we're doing this mind reading thing.
Oh, the judgment, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I used to do it in yoga. I would go to yoga and I would be doing my exercises, and I would be thinking that the instructor would be thinking that I should be doing something differently than I was doing.
Oh,
I mean, it's
get that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy making, right? And it's all in my own head.
Yeah.
So those are the three kinds of should that I've noticed. And man, for myself, especially when I was in the phase of losing my temper a lot, my life was just full of shoulds.
Yeah. No, I'm having read your blog on your, oh, excuse me. Sorry, it's my alarm. Having read your blog about that particular word, I could list all the things I was judging other people thinking they're saying in their heads about me, and it's like, wow, this is crazy stuff. And it's so true. It's our judgment of others judging ourselves, and it's actually purely judging ourselves, isn't it? And it just raises your anxiety to a level that's completely unmanageable. So no wonder we all get caught up in this kind of cycle of anxiety and reacting instead of actually taking control back.
Yes, absolutely. What should does is it takes you out of the present moment, and it also it ends up you end up feeling like you're victimized, and it takes your power away. And so if you can break free from all of these shoulds, you can feel a lot more powerful.
Yeah. So what would you recommend people do to break free from this word and change their outlook?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have several techniques that I can share. One of them is simply to make a list, or even just think about making a list throughout even just one day. Every time you notice yourself shoulding, it's like a verb, shoulding yourself or shoulding someone else. Simply doing that can help you develop your awareness about it. And you teach people how to break habits. In order to break a habit, first you need to just develop awareness that you have the habit.
Yeah.
And I do that with moms who lose their temper too. Sometimes we're blaming our kids, or we're blaming our father because he lost his temper, and we don't realize, oh, this is something I'm doing that I can actually work on stopping. So noticing that word should and how often you're doing it, that's really the first step. Now you mentioned shoulding other people, and this is one of the keys, because I was actually coaching someone one day who said, my boyfriend is driving me crazy with all of these shoulds, and he keeps telling me I should do this, I should do that. And I asked her, I looked her right in the eye and I said, is there someone that you should? Who do you should? And she's like, no one really. And I said, okay, think about it for a moment. Maybe there's no one close to you, but maybe there's a celebrity that you follow, or a politician that you're aware of. And her eyes got wide.
Oh, wow, yes.
And she said, oh my gosh, there's somebody that I should all day long.
Yeah, we all do it.
That's right. And so it's almost like this magnet, right? When you are shoulding in your head, even if you're shoulding someone else, you kind of attract these shoulds into your life. And simply noticing that for her was so powerful, because she needed to let go of shoulding that was a politician that she was shoulding. She needed to let that go in order to help free up the other space where her boyfriend was shoulding her all the time. And that is, what do I want to say? Like I said, it's like this mirror that happens in our lives. And to really break out, we need to not only, it's like breaking free of all of it. Because you can't just break free of one side. You can't just say, hey, world, stop shoulding me. That's not going to work. You need to stop shoulding the world at the same time.
What we see in the world is actually reflecting what's going on inside us anyway. Certainly.
That's right.
Yeah, I certainly noticed that.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's and there's this really simple technique that I use in my family for that. And sometimes when we catch ourselves shoulding each other, like if I catch myself shoulding my husband, I use this simple little phrase, and it's daddy do. And when I say that, what I mean is daddy do what he do. He does what he does, and that's okay. Like a lot of moms, we will should our husbands a lot. Like, my husband should put the kids to bed the way I put them to bed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you hear what I'm saying? Or my husband should feed the children the way I feed the children. And that is a lot of pressure to put on your spouse. And it ends up, just saying it out loud, it makes my shoulders creep up, sort of putting pressure on somebody else, and taking all of that pressure out by saying something simple like daddy do, or with my daughter, I say Melody do, or with my son, I say Gabriel do. And sometimes I'll say, I'll feel it in my family, and I'll say, hey guys, mama do. Mama's doing it her way. And mama's way is okay. Now, I do want to say that there are some shoulds that maybe are a good idea to think about becoming have-tos. So it's not okay to hurt somebody else. All right. So if you or somebody else is being hurtful, maybe that should be more than just a should. We should stop. We should stop hurting each other. No, yes, we really should.
Let's stop.
That's right. Thank you.
And we'll find a way.
Yes. Would you like me to tell you a couple more, or is that enough?
I'm actually running out of time because I've got to go get my kiddo from preschool. That's a limited time between 2 and 2:30 that I have for this slot. So I was just going to say that one of the things that I do on top of what you already do is we look at the reasons why you feel that you're shoulding. So we get to the deep cause of it and can change that. So that's what we do in rapid transformational therapy. We actually get to the root cause of these feelings of anxiety that might be building up the shoulds or whatever. So if you're feeling that your mother's thinking you should do that, we find out why you think that and let them set you free from those thoughts and feelings. So that's
beautiful.
My side of it. But that's brilliant. Just quickly, where can we find you?
Yeah, so my website is tempercoaching.com. That's tempercoaching.com. There's a blog with lots of really good information on there, and I hope you come over and subscribe to my newsletter.
Of course, and I will put that in the link below when I publish it on Facebook a bit later today. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on this morning, and it's been really nice to see you, Jeanette. And I hope this conversation has an impact on other people's lives, and they see it and think, oh, that's gives them some insight and ideas to help take away. So bye bye for now, and thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, message either of us on Facebook. You can find Jeanette at Jeanette Hargreaves LLC. I think that's right.
That's right.
On Facebook. And you can find me here. So it's been lovely to talk to you, and I'm sorry I've got to rush off because I have to pick up my son.
Yes.
So have a great day. Enjoy the day, and we'll catch up again soon.
You too. Yes. Lovely to see you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.